A giant rental home company has agreed to pay $48 million to renters after federal claims that they deceived tenants about lease fees and other costs while unfairly pocketing the security deposits. This week, the FTC announced the settlement from Invitation Homes. The agency says the Dallas-based company charged tens of millions of dollars in junk fees between 2021 and 2023. The mandatory monthly fees covered services including smart home technology and air filter delivery that could cost up to $1,700 a year, but that wasn't disclosed until renters received their lease, or sometimes not until even after they've signed it. Congresswoman Dina Titus applauded the agency's efforts and says this sends a strong message that rent gouging will not be tolerated.